Welcome to Unsubscribe. I'm your host, Avani Jain. In this podcast, I'm going to show you how to intentionally opt out of anything that's robbing you of your energy, freedom, joy, and peace of mind. It's time to let it all go, finally, so that you can clear your mental inboxes and make space to subscribe to a life that truly lights your soul. If you're ready, hop in. We are embarking on the transformation of a lifetime. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Unsubscribe. I need to be honest with you. It has been very difficult for me to sit down and record this episode for you, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud, but it's the truth. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't share that. But in the spirit of honesty and being raw and real and what I've always promised you, I want to sit down here and share that with you. I am recording this maybe 3 days before it goes live, which is very unusual for me. And people are waiting for me to get an episode out. And so they can edit and we can get everything in our process going for a Thursday release. It's going to go out on Thursday. It's going to be amazing. But it's also funny because I have this big backlog of ideas. I have so many ideas of things I want to talk to you about. And yet there's this life thing that keeps popping up. Life is lifing, and then even some resistance inside of me. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that. Then we're going to be jumping into the conversation of identity that I'm deeply experiencing right now. Like, I know I'm not a girl boss, but I'm not a stay-at-home wife either. I'm like somewhere in between and navigating that, especially in our 30s. And something about the 30s, it's an amazing decade. I love it so far. And it's hard to make friends and cultivate community, especially when we're so intentional these days. When we get older, we are more intentional about who we want to spend our time with, or at least that's what we learned from our 20s, many of us, and energetic capacity. So we're going to talk about all this stuff. It's kind of a scripted episode, but not really. So we're going to see where it goes together once again. And I want to backtrack a little because we went on an amazing trip to Mexico, me and Tashar. We had a trip for his work, and we do it every year. It's in a different location, but this time it was Mexico. It was so much fun. It was great to relax, great to be at the spa and just hang out with his coworkers and spend time together. And we came back with a stomach bug, both of us. I think we had something in the water or something in the ice, but both of us were kind of not feeling our greatest. I was like chained to the toilet for a few days, which is not fun, and didn't feel my best. So last week started off like that. And I was like, okay, I'm not in the right headspace to record a podcast episode yet. So I waited. Then we had family in town. It was just a flurry of activity and hosting and lots happening. And then the weekend came and went. And now I'm here. It is Monday afternoon. I really was like, oh, maybe I'll record this Monday morning. But no, we're here. Content creation has been slow for me these days. And I'm realizing there's a layer of life getting in the way, but also there's been a layer of me really, really wanting to slow down, wanting to be still, wanting to do things that aren't productive, that don't go out into the world. And I'm really feeling this push and pull right now of those things. And it's definitely because of the phase of life that I'm in right now with personal things that I have going on, but also summertime vibes. I just want to like chill. I want a cozy color. I have this new coloring book by Bobby Goods, which I'm so glad I got my hands on. And I just want to sit down, finish Bridgerton, and cozy color all afternoon, which I will do today. But I'm also here recording this podcast episode for you. So it's just interesting, like push and pull of life that I'm experiencing. And I think that's the theme of this episode, which is the duality of life and the duality of everything we're going through. There can be opposing feelings that reside within us, and it's actually okay. It's very human to have those opposing feelings within us. And on that note, I think a lot about this in my identity, because I think my entire adult life, really, I've been having different identities. I put on a hat and I am the designer, and then I put on another hat, I'm a freelancer. I put on another hat, I'm an agency owner. And that was just my career trajectory. And then there's also this trajectory in our personal lives where maybe we're single and then we're a girlfriend or a partner,
whatever you call yourself, and then we decide to be married and husband and wife or spouses, and we're going through this constant cycle and changing of the guards when it comes to our identities. A lot of us are. Some of us maybe not so much. But I've been feeling this in my bones. I don't know what my identity is some days because I'm not a girl boss. I'm not like deeply identifying with the CEO vibes, CEO life. I'm just not. I'm also not a stay at home wife. I have a lot of duties. I guess I don't like that word because it feels really like old fashioned, but I have a lot of responsibilities and I hold a lot of space for our home and our household, but I'm not a stay at home wife. I'm not a girl boss. And I'm like somewhere in between, question mark. And I'm not really sure, but I wanted to bring up this conversation because I am sure there's a little bit that you might be experiencing in this, like, not this thing that everyone says I should be, and not this other thing that everyone else says I should be, but I'm somewhere in the middle and I'm not sure where I fall, but also does it matter? Or maybe even we have this pressure to push ourselves into one category or another. And I think the answer is it doesn't really matter. We wear a lot of hats and we take these hats off in different seasons of our lives. And we get to be more than one thing, which is really cool. So I am a stay at home wife. And I laugh because people would say that to me years and years ago, and I would be horrified with this phrase. Because for me, stay at home wife, or even like stay at home mother, or whatever it is, that phrase, whenever someone said it to me as I was growing up, was so deeply triggering because I thought that meant you weren't doing anything in the world because I was so conditioned to think that productivity outside of the house was where true worth was created. And clearly, I've been spending the last 5 years undoing that. And so I am kind of a stay at home wife. Like, I'm at home, staying at home. I mean, I have an office, I do work, I make money, but I also like have a lot of flexibility. I'm managing things in the household, in our construction, in our finances, travel finances, managing our household support team. There's a lot happening every single day in our home. And I kind of consider that like the CEO of the household, which I love. I love that phrase so much. I definitely like the CEO of our home. I'm also the foundational, like energetic substrate of our home. I keep us grounded. And I know that is really important. I know that that's why Tushar leans on me in many ways. One of the reasons he leans on me is because I'm very good at that. I'm very good at taking care of my energy. So I am a stay at home wife. I am the CEO of our household. I am the energetic anchor. And I am also the CEO of my own company. I run an agency. I am the host of a podcast. Like, I am all of these things. And I think my message in all this is that you can be all of those things. And it's okay to not fully identify or feel everything any one of those personalities or identities feels or says we should feel. So, for example, if we're talking about girl boss, the mentality around running a business is like, I should be growing, I should be doubling my revenue, I should be growing my revenue every single quarter is up and up. I'm hiring, I'm scaling, I'm scaling, I'm scaling. There's so much happening. There's growth, growth, growth happening. And that is the rhetoric around running a business and being an entrepreneur, especially if you go online. And if you're not growing, then you're moving backwards. Like, there's this rhetoric around that. And I'm here to say that maybe we can unsubscribe to that. Yeah, I am a CEO of my own business, but I choose to do it differently. I choose to not identify as that girl boss who is mindlessly going for more and growth at all costs. And that feels really good to me. Or maybe you have a really wonderful job, a really wonderful career in corporate. And just because you're not 24/7 thinking about your job and 24/7 plugged into work, checking your email all the time, and that's not your identity, you have your boundaries, doesn't mean you're good bad at your job. In fact, it can mean you're even better at your job. We get to choose what parts of these identities we actually subscribe to. and we get to create our own special concoction of who we want to be. So, yes, you could be an amazing business owner that brings in cash, lots and lots of cash, and is really, really successful in their own right. Then you can be a stay at home partner, stay at home spouse, and be really wonderful at creating a household and hosting and all of those things that might traditionally qualify for that role. And you can be really, really great in the gym. Like, all of these things can be true. And I urge you to set aside the labels, to set aside what we feel like we should be or how we feel we should be, and put together your own perfect mix of you. That ability to be all of those things at once and really step into your magnificence, your everythingness, I think is really special and really powerful. It takes a lot of bravery to do that because the world wants to put labels on us. The world wants to like look at us, meet us, get to know us, and discern which bucket they want us to be put into. I feel this all the time when I'm in certain social settings with certain types of people and they meet me and I can see them categorizing me and judging whether they should spend time with me. And it's amusing to me. And at the same time, I'm like, you know what? It's like, it's their call. If this is how they're going to be in the world, that's their call. And it gives me a chuckle now, but it didn't always. So I actually want to share a little story because there was a time not so long ago where I wasn't this, I guess, bold about who I was. And I remember there was this time we were in Ibiza in Spain, and I was there with a bunch of friends and acquaintances. And in Europe, people love to smoke cigars, especially like after dinner, maybe when they're on vacation. That's just part of the culture. And this group, many of the men that were with us were smoking and partaking and enjoying cigars. And after a while, like I started to feel really uncomfortable. And I was kind of like not able to breathe, wasn't feeling great. Mosquitoes were getting to me, and I was like, no, no, I can't sit here any longer. And I'm really a magnet for mosquitoes. So I was like, okay, we have to change the situation. I remember getting up and moving to a different room, and I remember feeling really, really bad about it. Like, I had the courage to get up and to put myself in a more comfortable situation for my body, for my health. I felt like I had othered myself. I had taken myself out of the group. I didn't belong. And I remember not feeling good about it. I felt very like self outcasted or like exiled and very sad about that. I was like, no one else is like me. There was this really deep feeling of loneliness that washed over me. And I was doing what I thought was right and taking care of my well being. And at the same time, I wasn't able to like fully stand up and be secure in it. Now, fast forward to 2024, this year, we were just on this retreat in Mexico with a bunch of Tushar's work friends, and it was so much fun. Everyone was standing around talking. We were having drinks before sitting down to eat dinner, and I was just really tired. It was a long day at the beach. I was really hot and tired and didn't feel like standing up and socializing anymore. My body was tired. I needed to sit down and I needed to respect that for my body. So I walked over to the table, picked a table, and sat down by myself. And I was like, maybe someone will come sit by me. They'll want to talk to me, have conversations with me. Nobody sat by me for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I was just like sitting there by myself. I'm like, oh, interesting. But what's interesting is not that no one sat by me, it's that I didn't care. Like, I did not care if anyone sat down with me or not. I was very happy with sitting, enjoying the breeze from the ocean, drinking my rosé, and looking at my phone. I had a few things to check in on anyway. Like, it was the perfect opportunity to be alone amongst others. And I felt so secure in that. It was incredible. It was so freeing. And I was just so proud of myself as I looked into that moment, realizing like I had the guts to step away from the crowd physically and be fully okay with it. I had the confidence to just be like, yeah, this is great. I feel good. I want to be alone. In fact, like, give me a break, people. And I was just so proud of myself. I was like, look at how far this human has come from stepping away from the crowd in 2022 and feeling really bad about it and like outcasted and sad and lonely to this moment where I am alone, but I'm not lonely. And it was incredible. I was just so proud of myself in that moment. I'm like, I'm going to take this with me and I'm going to take it forward because today I love going places by myself. I love going to get matcha by myself. I love sitting in the car by myself. I love going out to a meal by myself. If I'm traveling, especially, of course, I'll do that. But I always felt uncomfortable doing that in the past. And now I relish in that moment, especially like if we're going somewhere and Dushar has a work meeting or he has his own thing to do. I love sitting by myself and having like the best girl lunch, you know? It is so freeing, so peaceful to do that and to have a lot of confidence in that moment. And this is something that's really I've stepped into in this decade in my 30s. I'm only 32, so I still have much of my 30s to go. And I'm feeling very excited about what the rest of the decade is to bring because I feel like it's just about me coming into myself. So if you are in your 30s, just like I am, I invite you to continue to look at all of the things you're doing in your day to day, even the little moments, and notice how you're doing it differently now. Notice how you are a different person now. And have this different viewpoint on life, which is so cool. I want to also talk a little bit more on the concept of loneliness because another thing I'm experiencing right now, talk about duality, is I deeply miss friends. Like, I have some really wonderful friendships and I just don't see them enough. Either they've moved away, they are partnered, they have spouses, they're living their own lives, and we just don't have enough windows of opportunity to spend time together. And I miss it. It makes me really sad that I don't have as many friends around me that I can be like, hey, let's get a matcha. And I just go do that. It's not like I'm also just as available to go do that. I'm not like sitting here doing nothing, waiting for someone to be like, let's go get a matcha. Maybe I will be soon. I don't know. But that's just not my life right now. And other people's lives who are similar to me aren't like that either. So it's this feeling I'm getting on a day to day basis. It's been a long time that I felt this is that I'm craving connection and friendship and community. And at the same time, although I'm craving that and I want that, and I feel like it's not yet where I want it to be, I am also craving not doing anything. And I want my calendar to be empty. I want nothing to be on my calendar because seeing something on there makes me feel like, oh, I have to like thing. So it's this very interesting push and pull of I want to do things and see friends and have a full social life. And I also want to do nothing at the same time. And the reason I want to do things is because I do have this level of loneliness I feel in my day to day. And I'm not saying that for you to be sorry for me or sad for me. I live a very fun and big and beautiful life. But it's this duality that I'm feeling like I'm craving community and craving connection. And yet I don't have as much capacity to make space for that connection and community, which is so weird. And I'm just learning that this weird, mushy, like in between is just where I am right now. And I don't need to push to make a change and suddenly have like 5 girlfriends I see all the time and have brunch with every single Sunday. Maybe that's fun. Actually, this does sound kind of fun. Maybe not every Sunday, though, like every other Sunday or once a month, because my capacity is different today than it was 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. And it's just really okay to not want the same things our other peers want, even if they're our age, whether they're younger than us, older than us. I think, again, unsubscribing to the view of what one's social life can look like is something that I've been really digging into and reevaluating. My social life is very different. I have moments where I have a busy calendar and I'm seeing a lot of people, I'm attending a lot of events, and then I have periods of quiet. And it's in those periods of quiet where I'm like, okay, can I like hang out with a friend, please? Is anyone available? Does anyone want to hang out with me? And I also am focusing on making new friendships, which I'm very excited about. I have a few friendships that I have been cultivating over the last year or so, and I'm realizing making friends in your 30s requires a lot of patience and time because, once again, we're not just freely available anymore. And that means I am planning hangouts weeks in advance, sometimes a month in advance. And it feels weird because I'm like, wait, shouldn't we just be able to hang out? But there is a level of patience that is required to continue to cultivate a deeper and deeper connection every time. And just having that friendship blossom into like the big lively group chat that's always available for you 24/7 doesn't happen overnight. It requires time and investing time into. And of course there's some friendships which just suddenly click and you're like, wait, where was I? How come I didn't have this person in my life for all this time? But that doesn't always happen. It's in fact very rare. So I'm learning to be patient as certain friendships continue to develop. And I'm also okay with being the person in the friendship that makes the most bids. So what does that mean? It means I'm the one always asking them to hang out. I'm the one always being like, hey, let's grab coffee. I haven't seen you in a while. And there is a version of me that have been like, whoa, what are you doing? They're not reciprocating. You're not like reaching out to hang out. And the thing is, like, I don't care anymore. Yes, there's a level of friendship where it has to go both ways, right? It really does. It needs to be a two-way street. And I believe all of my relationships must be two-way streets. And at the same time, it's okay to be the one to be making more bids, to be like, let's have dinner, let's do this, let's grab a matcha. And know when you have hit your line, like, okay, I think this person is not ready to take the next step in friendship and I'm okay to step back. But I want to be bold in my friendships. I want to let someone know if I really enjoy spending time with them and if I want to spend more time with them. Life is too short for me not to. And I'm okay with making the most bids because those are the people that have the most friends, the most connections. And that is the kind of person I want to be. Even though I'm in this place of push and pull and duality, I'm like, I want to hang out, but I also don't want to hang out. And that brings me to my next point. Canceling is okay. Like, if you don't have it in you to spend time getting out of the house and being with this person, even though you really love them and appreciate them and value them so much, if you don't have the capacity to go spend time with them, it's okay. Don't make it more than it needs to mean. Just say, hey, I had a more full week than I expected. There's a lot happening and I would love to hang out with you, but I was wondering if you could reschedule for this time or this time. And it can be as simple as that. Canceling is okay. We have to protect our energies. And people like us who are doing the most probably also overcommit to events and things on their calendar. So this is your permission slip to cancel your hangouts, cancel your meetings, cancel events. And it's also your permission slip to be the person who shows up boldly in friendships. Now, I'm sharing these things with you because I'm on this journey of developing deeper friendships and developing friendships that are with me for a long time, that are high quality and we're there for each other. And I'm willing to be patient for that. And I'm craving that connection and community, but I'm also willing to be patient for that because life is long and we're going to be here a while, most of us. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm also willing to choose the right people to spend life with. And that has been a really eye-opening realization for me. So I hope you enjoyed this winding conversation because it was definitely winding. I invite you to take a look at all the hats you wear and to welcome all the facets of who you are, to really allow duality to be a reality of life and accept it and revel in it. Like, it doesn't need to be a bad thing that you feel opposing things inside of you all the time. We're just so dynamic as human beings. And of course, there's different feelings and thoughts in us that change and ebb and flow all the time. Welcome the messiness, welcome the unknown, welcome the void and the messy middle, because that is where we find ourselves. And so I want all of us together today to unsubscribe to not being any one thing and to welcome the and in our lives and really embrace the fullness of who we are. I love you all. Thank you for listening in, and I'll talk to you again very soon.